Tonight on Joy News Prime, Finance Minister warns of economic consequences worse than the fish downgrade if Parliament fails to approve the e-levy, which is set to be represented when the House resumes next week.
I think it is quite clear from the Bloomberg report and from the Fitch downgrade that the consequences of not passing the e-levy is clear to us.
Addressing a news conference Wednesday afternoon, he insisted Ghanaians are not against the e-levy, but are rather concerned about accountability. National Security Ministry convenes high-powered meeting to fashion out a response to Tuesday afternoon street gang clash at Nima here in Accra, not too far from the seat of government, and which has left residents fearing there could be reprisal attacks.
My shop inside where they sell things before they start the... Before I realize I see gun, pim, then I see inside my thing. You do see? Yeah, I don't get problem with anyone, but I'm in my shop where I hear pim. Before I see the gun where I dodge, where I go home.
7 people have so far been arrested with an active manhunt for the remaining members of the gangs. Residents of Asante Achim farming community of Fenshire so shocked and terrified following the butchering of a 15-year-old boy right in front of his siblings, allegedly by herdsmen.
We have suffered to raise this boy. He was supposed to write his final exams next year. The law should deal with these Fulani people.
It comes on the back of an age-old conflict between herdsmen and members of the community who say this is a first such murder. In business, as Ghana's fiscal outlook appears bleak amid downgrades from global rating agencies, government races to cut down expenditure by 20% across various entities as part of expenditure control measures to contain the country's budget deficit.
In accordance with Section 20 of the Public Financial Management Act, the quarterly expenditure ceilings of the approved budget will include up to a 20% downward adjustment beginning in the first quarter of 2022 in commitments across board.
Ghanaians and resident foreigners arriving at the Kotoka International Airport will no longer be compelled to take the COVID-19 vaccine. The Ghana Health Service has also announced pregnant women in Ghana who have been excluded in the vaccination drive so far can now go for the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines. Joy News Prime is on Joy Prime as well as on your DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Thanks for choosing us. I'm Israel, and this is your home of independent, fearless, credible journalism. Do stay tuned in. The National Security Ministry has convened a high-powered meeting to fashion out a response to Tuesday afternoon's street gang clash at Nima here in Accra, which left at least 3 people with gunshot and machete wounds. It took the timely intervention of the police to restore calm in what they say could have potentially escalated into a full-blown conflict with many casualties, not too far from the president's residences, both official and private. It's been nearly 24 hours since the incident, and many residents are yet to recover from the trauma of what they witnessed. 7 people have so far been arrested and some arms retrieved. We have more on an active police manhunt for the remaining members of the feuding gangs. First, though, Manuel Karanting of our security has visited the community, and here's his report.
Those were the scenes on the streets of Nima, a suburb in Ayawaso East Municipality in Accra. 2 youth gangs from Mamobi and Nima, who have been in a long-standing feud, clashed on Tuesday afternoon. At least 3 people sustained gunshot and machete wounds.
The reason why they always fight is about rivalry. I think it's about self-acclaimed gang, self-acclaimed boss. This one a rule over this, and this guy also want to rule over this. So anytime they clash, there is a small incident. Then you see the 2 clans start to fight. Yeah, I learned it started 3 days ago when the other guy came to change money, and the other guy, his rivalry came and asked him why is he in their territory, and that was the mess.
Some people escaped only by the skin of their teeth.
My shop inside where they sell things before they start the Me, I don't. Before I realize, I see gun. Pim, then I see inside my single. You do see. Yeah, I don't get problem with anyone. But I'm in my shop where I hear pim. Before I see the gun where I dodge. Where I go home.
So if
Came back to here. Come back to next top. Then he went out.
So I can count 4 different holes right through the ceiling, and all are, perpendicular like that, all through the space in the roof there.
Yeah. So number 1 is this. 2 is this. Came back from here to here.
Okay, so he's just now showing me, and in fact there are more holes.
For now, almost everyone in the community is living in fear. Many shops are closed and several other vendors are absent. The few vendors who showed up are visibly spooked.
The one who is shooting the gun safe, I did not see his face, but I did hear pa. Before I come out, I see plenty of people, but me, I know if you watch this one, then I run go home. I run and go home. I want my life. It's not the money.
I catch up with this coconut seller who won't speak to me. After several minutes of engaging him off record, he shares how he escaped the chaos.
Obi mi fi mambo obi no so fi Nima e no mbe shemu to mbe shemu no se ne adede no se ne adade no ni tuo no ene ma mi sa me dade na me de ko top one mu o dade na o de ton ena me de ko si o top one mu nti o mu di be tanden o mu di be 3 hours crowd ha no mu 3 hours o mu shi asine o mu di be 3 hours asine o mu free ha.
For many, it is time for the police to nip the menace of gang clashes in the bud to forestall a future recurrence.
The law, sometimes the law no they work. Sometimes they do say the law in the work. Because ask me why.
Why, sir?
The way I say you should ask me why. Because something is going on inside the area. You see human being, fellow human being, where it's not a police or soldier. He say he is using gun. For what? Because this thing where is happy, we really understand for that thing. Because we the area here, we know say our president is in Nima police station. Where if something happen inside the youth, we suppose that boys where they do all that thing, they're supposed to catch him. We see say human being feel kill somebody, they run go, they son come back, they say they leave him. Why?
More than 24 hours after the incident, it's many police boots on ground. The goal, to hunt down and prosecute the remaining gang members to prevent another clash. Manuel Cranting, Joy News, Accra.
Well, security analyst Adib Sani believes an enhanced intelligence gathering operation could have averted the incident.
On the ground, but it seems everybody is caught by surprise. I mean, nobody seems to know what is going on.
And I was just going to ask that, could we have seen this coming?
Absolutely, because usually before something like this happens, it might have simmered for some time now. Unfortunately, the security services might have their attention tilted elsewhere. But if there was proper intelligence on the ground, we could have, as a matter of fact, seen it coming before it blew up in our face. But currently, it looks like people don't really want to talk. And it's very inconsistent with what I know about Zongos. I mean, you touch one person in Zongo, you touch all of Zongo. There's that unity, that fraternity within the Zongo community, and it's quite surprising that we have, gangs fighting, I don't know over what, within the Zongo area. So I'm quite surprised and taken aback.
But you've seen the security deployment here. You don't think that is coming in a bit too late, as you're saying, if there was, effective, intelligence, we might have seen this coming. But now we're seeing the deployment on the ground. This also works well, no?
Well, it's just an interim initial measure. But of course, this doesn't solve anything. And I'm particularly excited that the police has shown interest in what is happening. Yesterday, I followed the news conference, and the assurances by the police, I feel, is quite satisfying. The boots on the ground we're seeing is also sending a clear message to the people within the area that, hey, we are still in charge and we're not going to allow this to happen. But I'm hoping that going forward, we make a conscious attempt to get all of those involved and make sure they are held into account, okay, or accountable, I should put it. So we are able to nip in the bud that cycle of impunity that is making people feel that once you are in the Zongo, you are beyond reproach and nobody can hold you to account. Secondly, we have to collaborate progressively with the various stakeholders on the ground, particularly through the Chief Imam's office. And of course, personalities such as Papa Angola, who garner a lot of respect and recognition within the Zongo community, so that the next time, if there's anything like that going to happen, we would have people willingly giving out information so we are able to prevent it. And on the other hand, if in case it happens, they would make sure the police gets those responsible.
So as you heard Adid Sani say, that area is a predominantly Muslim community. Let's now bring in the spokesperson of the National Chief Imam, Sheikh Arimiya, Shaibu. Good evening to you, Sheikh. Now, how did we watch these gangs grow into what they have become?
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity. I saw it and watched it on the video with dismay, with disappointment, with sadness, with shock. The reason for which this morning I had to rise to give briefing to the eminent National Chief Imam about exactly what had taken place. I was shocked when I saw one person had been slashed with a cutlass and his legs gave way under him and he fell down. I saw him being pulled. It was something shocking, something disappointing. Like Adib Sani has said, for me, the contradiction is that Nima and Mamobi, Newtown and other places are predominantly Muslim. And one would expect that the spirit of Islamic discipline and decency, our morality would influence and guide the lives of everybody there, including the young people and children. Our sense of peace and harmony, as is indicated in our greetings, could also have inspired the kind of behavior we put, and so that in matters of coexistence, tolerance, and respect for life and the sanctity of human blood is something that we must uphold. Unfortunately, for this to happen, then it really suggests a certain contradiction, and so that is our initial view about exactly what has taken place.
Now, it's common knowledge that in these Zongo communities, there's pretty much quite a bit of lawlessness there. And if you listen to some of the people we spoke with, they indicated that there are some people who feel they are untouchable. They can do whatever they want to do in their community and get away with it. So this is something that has been festering for a while, that has been allowed to fester, really.
Yeah, I think there is something like some group solidarity and community solidarity which is supposed to be positive but is being made to degenerate in something negative. That is when we live in a community and we see a bad element rising up or engaging in some shady deals, something doubtful about himself. We know somebody is gathering arms, in a possession is in some deadly weapons, which he uses to create insecurity among the people. But in the name of group solidarity and communitarianism, we keep these things silent. We don't give them out. And I think that is what has allowed this to fester. Like this gangsterism is something that people know that is happening. And this is the first time it has taken place. You find it's a turf war. I mean, one group wants to say it is in charge of a particular area. So when they see one other element coming in, they rise up. Or if somebody is assaulted, then the whole group will have to now make some reprisals. And I think that it is known by the security But the security, the police, they know, chiefs within the community know this, imams know this, and so on. But it is unfortunate that we have not been able to really draw a plan or a roadmap towards the final eradication of these elements in our society. This is like a cancer. So dealing with it will require both short, medium, and long-term approaches, because this is the result of a lot of combination of factors which we need to work at. So I represent the Chief Imam on the National Security Dialogue table, and the Chief Imam has a close relationship with the IGP, both the past IGP and the current IGP. The current Deputy Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Suraj, who is in charge of operations, and the current Regional Police Commander, Alhaji Idi, are all Muslims, and we want to really bring them together with the police imam and map out some programs that we must churn out, not to address the issue in Mamobi and Nima alone, but wherever we have Muslim youth that have the tendency to rise up in some of these gangsterism, we seek to do something about this so that we can really build up the perspective of young people whose mentality is that of non-violence, even in the matters of disagreement.
Sheikh, you talk about the lawlessness and what is being done about it, but is there really a commitment to get this done? I'm saying this, or I'm asking this because we've seen funeral cortege involving Muslim youth who are going to bury someone, and they're riding on motorbikes and cars and driving just anyhow on the streets. Yeah. That has never been stopped. Can these acts of indiscipline and lawlessness ever be contained?
I mean, definitely we should. It's like a challenge that is confronting us, and we should not give up in the fight. The society needs decency, the society needs discipline, the society needs order in order to make consistent and sustainable development. If we fail in this, then this same element will become a source of insecurity to us, and it can cause this anxiety and fear and threat to our survival. And so we should not give up, we should continue. One of the things that I have suggested is that even when we are carrying probably a dead person, if we think that because of the swiftness, can we engage and have an arrangement with the police so the police can assist us instead of using the motorbikes and the way that we see, which does not portray a sense that this is a community that is disciplined, a community in which there is order. It's something which is a worry for all of us, and we are looking for avenues by which we can get some of these youth leaders and get them to conduct themselves in a more respectable and respectful manner. Because our worry is that it casts a very bad image on our religion also. I mean, that is the truth. That's the reality. Right. We say we are peaceful, all right. We are a different community, but these are contradictions. So it casts a very bad image on us. And so we carry the duty, and I don't think that we have to relent. We don't have to give up.
All right. Thank you very much, Sheikh Arimiya Shaibu, who is a spokesperson for the National Chief Imam. Now, Adam Bona is a security analyst, and he joins me on Zoom with more on this. Good evening to you. Now, you know this community and have been following this incident since it happened. Could it really have been prevented?
Well, yes, good evening, Israel. It could have been prevented, but I heard my friend and brother, Sheikh Arimiya, speak about the lawlessness within some of these Zongo communities. You see, the reality is that when these things happen, we tend to scratch the surface and we don't go in and try to heal the wound from inside. It is common knowledge that the Zongos have become breeding grounds for violent extremism, where young people are radicalized, young people are used for political gains. If you look at the 2020 elections, go and check the people who died and go, check the names, and the names will tell you a story. The names will tell you that most of these young people who are used for some of these jobs, dirty jobs, are brought in from the Zongos, and therefore once, the politicians tend to go into the Zongos to use them, then it becomes a breeding ground for these people to be used. Ayawaso West Wagon. Go and check the young people who were brutalized, and check those who brutalized the brutalized people. Okay, then you will notice that even those within the national security who were called mostly to the commission, the Ayawaso West Wagon Commission, the short commission sitting. Most of them were, names like Al-Hassan, Husseini, and the rest from the Zongos who were recruited to radicalize and recruited into national security to go and perpetrate a crime. And so we seem to be scratching the surface. What happened in Nima has always been happening. It happens every elections. It happens during festive seasons. It happens almost all the time. Mine is that there's the Nima division. We have the Nima police division. If they cannot do the job, what I can suggest to probably the IGP is to, move some of them away and bring in people who probably can do the job, because then if you saw what happened, it didn't just happen the day it happened. It started happening, I think, 24 hours before the D-Day, before the climax. And what were they doing? Are they saying that they didn't know somebody was beaten up in the Nima enclave, where they are? If they didn't know somebody was beaten up, then I would say that it is an intelligence failure on their part. But the truth is that we as a country have failed, because the Zongos, unfortunately, have become breeding ground for radicalized Muslim young or youth who have been used to foment trouble during elections, during, Langardism. Go and check. And you don't need a researcher to tell you what I'm saying is true. Is right.
Now, considering the fact that all this happened in the backyard of the presidency, where the incident happened is not too far from the presidency, the official residence and the private residence of the presidency. You mentioned intelligence failure. What does that say of the whole intelligence apparatus, if even for the backyard of the president, we have these things happening?
Well, it tells you, just like I said, I don't want us to lump it together. Once we do that, it defeats the purpose of analysis. I would want a situation where we zoom into the Nima police division and ask the divisional commander, what happened? How did they fail to pick intel? Then probably escalate it to, the national security, where we have elements there who probably have no business working in there, who find a route into the national security, not knowing what they are doing. And so as far as I'm concerned, it is a big time intelligence failure, because you have the president, who is a next door neighbor to that particular station, the divisional command at the Nima area. And yet things are happening just next door, and the division didn't know that this was going on. And so as far as I'm concerned, for how long this has been going on, we don't know. And it is because we are fortunate, because somebody, a good Samaritan, filmed what was going on and shared it on social media. If not, this would have gone on without us knowing, because as we speak, it hit no social media, and quickly the IGP and his people, they've done well. They had to arrest some people, but I'm told it involves about 45 young people. And if there are 45 young people, I'm expecting that the gang leaders should be arrested. But the truth, the root cause of this has to do with radicalizing these young people. They don't have jobs. And so let's look at trying to fix youth unemployment and, reforming these communities and ensuring that the youth in there are not, it doesn't become a breeding ground for, violence and all that, as we have seen all over the country.
All right. Thank you very much, Adam Bona. Adam Bona is a security analyst, and he joined us to share his insights with us on the developments in the Nima area. Now, President Akufo-Addo completes his leadership of the NPP when he ends his second term in 2025. Before this time, his successor should have been selected by the party's delegates at Congress. The race continues to take shape as the days go by, with Trade Minister Alan Kyerematen and Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bawumia the front runners for the flag bearership position. While the two men have not publicly stated their desire for the job, their interest to lead the party in the next presidential elections remains open secret. The anger of some of the supporters is giving rise to concerns that the contest may not be fair. But is that indeed the case? This evening, we've brought together experts and party supporters to discuss the push for MPP leadership and how that will influence the party's fortunes in the next elections. Let's start with some of the concerns.
Since the release of the rules and regulations, a number of high-profile and ranking members of the party have openly violated the rules and regulations by declaring their support for the Vice President, His Excellency Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia, who has left nobody in doubt of his ambition to become the party's presidential candidate. Prominent among these party officials who have blatantly violated the party's rules and regulations are as follows. Deputy General Secretary of the party, Nana Obiri-Bwahin, the Northern Regional Executives led by Chairman Samba, the Vice Chairman of Ashanti, Mr. Kobna Senchire, the Member of Parliament for Karaga, my own friend and former colleague, Amin Anta, and then Member of Parliament for Toron, Honorable Habib Idrisu, and Farouk Mahama, MP for Yendi, among others. Interestingly, even though the actions of the above-mentioned officials and senior members clearly violate the party's code of conduct, none of these blatant violators has been called to order by the national executives of the party. The worst of it all, at the recent National Delegate Conference of the party, which was held in Kumasi, no less a person than the Vice President himself, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who was part of the very body that promulgated the party's rules and regulations, in wanton disregard of the same rules and regulations, arrived at the conference ground with supporters wearing his branded T-shirts and banners announcing his campaign for the flag bearership. As if breaching the code of conduct wasn't embarrassing, the Vice President and his cohort, in their desperation, went on as far as breaching the state protocols as he and his followers arrived late to the function, well after His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and the First Lady had taken their seats. In spite of all this embarrassing conduct, nobody in the National Executive, including Mr. Jombodu, the General Secretary, who announced the sanctions, has come out to condemn it or say anything about it. However, in an animal farm selective justice fashion, when supporters of other aspirants, particularly Honorable Alan John Kojo Chiramatin, a founding member of the party, tried to stand their ground and protect their own, they are either immediately rounded up by security agencies or subjected to acts of intimidation and senseless suspension. A clear case in point is the arrest and detention of some supporters of Honorable Alan Chiramatin, the Minister for Trade and Industry, and a leading contender to the flag bearership at the just ended National Delegate Conference for protesting the flagrant abuse of the party's regulations.
Well, the party has issued a statement on this, and I'm bringing that to you. So the General Secretary wishes to respond as follows. First of all, the said group is alien to the MPP and has never been part of the party's volunteer groups in any previous elections. In fact, the convener of the group, Emmanuel Osei-Jemfi, who addressed the presser, is not even a member of the party. That's according to the statement released by the party. Then, so we will be bringing you some more on the statement. So records show that he voluntarily forfeited his membership of the MPP, even if he ever was, when in 2020, he filed to contest as an independent parliamentary candidate in the Twima Nwabija North constituency of the Ashanti region. How can somebody who is not a member of the MPP purport to lead a group in the party to fight for the interest of Alan Chiramatin? It is not surprising that the group will threaten that they may vote against the party's presidential candidate in 2024 if their concerns were not addressed. And the statement continues, certainly the group can only be said to be on a mischievous and destructive mission, and it will be in the interest of Mr. Alan Kyerematen to dissociate himself from such diabolic agenda against the MPP. The General Secretary also categorically denies the group's allegation of discriminatory application of the code against the supporters of Alan Kyerematen as a presidential hopeful. Then the party is resolved to crack the whip when it becomes necessary in order to ensure party discipline and sanity, which are the essential prerequisites for victory in 2024. Now, let's broaden the conversation and speak with Nana Bribwahing of the MPP and Dr. Asante. Good evening to you both. Right. Hello and good evening to you both.
Yeah, good evening to you, my brother.
Okay, so are you worried about the accusations and counter-accusations between the Alan and Bawumia camp?
Oh, personally, I wish you could have directed this discussion to the General Secretary.
Oh,
that
okay.
Statement,
Sorry, this is going to the General Secretary.
Oh, I see. I'm the Deputy General Secretary.
Okay. So, Mr. Bribwahing, are you worried about the accusations and counter-accusations between the Alan and Bawumia camp in the recent development?
Oh, certainly I must be a little worried having regard to what we went through in 2007 and 2008. I believe that New Patriotic Party is human-organized, human-oriented, human-controlled, human-centered party. And to that extent, you may have individuals who may have soft spots for some aspirants. Certainly, I am not so much worried about that. I am only worried when you find attempts to disunite the front. That is all. That is my major worry. That is all. Because we need a united front to approach the 2024. As to whether an individual is rooting for A or B or C or D, on that note, I am not worried at all. The least, I'm not worried at all. Of course, in my recent submissions, I mean, it's clear that I, Bribwahing, have made it abundantly clear. Even though I've stated that this is not campaign, rather an expression of intent. In my case, it's not. I will not consider that to be campaign. It is just an expression of intent. I'm opening a new chapter in my political career, and that chapter is that I am going to bring Imam man to be the flag bearer of the party. I stand by that such utterance.
Nano Bribwahing, there are those who listen to statements like that from you, and it's clear to them that you've taken a stance already.
Oh, I'm talking in terms of Nano Bribwahing as an individual. I've been a youth organizer before, in 92. I've been a regional chairman before.
But you're an executive as well, Nano Bribwahing.
I've been a minister of state before. I've been the Deputy General Secretary for 2 terms, the first time in the history of our party. And so, after July 2022, I'm going to open a new chapter. And what is that chapter? That chapter is that I'm bringing man to be the flag bearer. He always beam with smiles, and he has spectacle at all times of material.
Nano Bribwahing,
to make history.
Nano Bribwahing, you're saying that you're opening a chapter. Why
in my political career?
Yes. Why wouldn't you have waited for you to quit or be out of the position as an executive, and then you can make this pronouncement?
People are asking me, Nano Bribwahing, so having served as a Deputy General Secretary for 2 years, why do you want to leave the head office of the party? Then I said, look, I'm going to open a new chapter. And this is the very chapter I'm going to open. So I don't think there's anything wrong about that.
All right. We have a Dr.
And I consider it an expression of intent.
Okay.
And I still stand by that.
All right. Dr. Asante, he's a senior lecturer, political science department, and director of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. He also joins us. Good evening to you, Dr. Asante. So you've been listening to Nano Bribwahing, and he's made a pronouncement. He's taking a position, even though he doesn't name a person. He's indicated, it's clear, or it's obvious to many who are watching who he intends to go in for. But he says it's his personal position, and it doesn't really indicate bias of any sort. What do you make of it?
Israel, good evening, and good evening to your viewers and listeners. I think I disagree with Nana, with all humility, because what he said, he has opened the floodgates for all manner of happenings that we are experiencing today. It is very unfortunate, because they set the rules of engagement, and he goes to the extent of making such statements that undermines the very, position that they have as executive. My question to him is that if everybody goes on the same tangent, declaring what a new chapter for the vision for the party or the whatever position they want to take, how do we going to take that position? Then we are going to have a very chaotic situation in the MPP. I think that
Dr. Sasante, let me just put that question to him right now, since he's still on the line. So, Nano Bribwahing, the question is, if every one of the executives decides that they're going to state their future political ambitions...
and thereby open a new chapter.
And open new chapters. If everybody is going to open new chapters, don't you foresee chaos within the party?
Certainly not. Certainly not, Israel. Certainly not. Certainly not. I can assure you that certainly not.
Into the rules of engagement within the party.
I am not undermining the rules of engagement. I am stating my position clear. I beg to differ if you describe it as undermining the rules of engagement.
Yes.
That is not correct.
Dr. Sasante, how do you see all this playing out in the party in a run-up to this flag bearership race?
In a democracy, you are governed by rule of law. He is a lawyer, and he knows more than I do. And that under the rule of law, we have equality before the law and due process. What it means is that when you are, if you are taking any decision within the party, nobody should be above the law. All right? If you are saying that before we declare open the elections or the nomination or election of candidates, nobody should do ABC. And you, the very executive who came out with a rule, want to open a new chapter on that score, and which, seems to undermine the very principle. Then you are creating a very serious problem for democracy to grow within the party. My worry is that it ties into what? Institutional breakdown. Because my question is that when we talk about institution, we are talking about rules, regulations, procedures, processes. Once you create such a condition, then all the rules, the regulations, and co are going to be thrown to the dogs. And there you see the chaos that we are experiencing now. I believe that MPP doesn't need this thing at this time, where Parliament is hung in nature, where there are industrial agitations, where there are, other forms of problems that we have in this country. Then more so when they themselves want to break the eight. If you want to break the eight, you want to go to the elections with what? Equal front. You want to have what? Unity. And then you want to work to support the government that you have put in place. Otherwise, there's nothing that you can stand on to campaign for people to give you their mandate. So I am worried about what is going on. And I can see that what MPP lack at the moment is that they need a political advisor who will be able to look at all these dynamics and guide the party through. It's a difficult period for them. I appreciate that. But you need a certain political advisor who will be able to pick the pieces together and advise the party to go along. My first port of call is that the Council of State, the Council of Elders, which is a bigger institution within the party, must rise up to the occasion and call people to order.
All right.
So that they don't, erode all the hard work that this party has done over the years in no time.
All right.
I think they have to do that.
All
and
right.
more so, the party must be mindful of the fact that they have struggled to come to power. So they don't want to do anything that will ruin their chances as we go along. For me, this is my humble plea to them.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Asasante, a political science lecturer. And thank you to Nano Bribwahing of the New Patriotic Party. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. Finance Minister warns of economic consequences worse than a Fitch downgrade if Parliament fails to approve the e-levy, which is set to be represented when the House resumes next week.
I think it is quite clear from the Bloomberg report and from the Fitch downgrade that the consequences of not passing the e-levy is clear to us.
All right, before we go for the break, there's actually some police briefing on the Nima incidents and disturbances. We're crossing over to the police headquarters right now to listen in. All right, so to give you an update on what exactly the background to this police briefing, which we see is going to be addressed there it's going to start pretty shortly. It has to do with the disturbances that happened in Nima. It's been our top story this evening, where some 7 people have been arrested. The National Security Ministry has convened a high-powered meeting to fashion out a response to the Tuesday afternoon street gang clash at Nima here in Accra, which left at least 3 people with gunshot and machete wounds. It took the timely intervention of the police to restore calm in what they say could have potentially escalated into a full-blown conflict with many casualties not too far from the president's residences. We will bring you the news briefing immediately it starts. So we're taking a break. We'll be back with you in a bit. Right, so we're going back to the police headquarters for that news briefing by the police on the Nima disturbances.
Let me also use this opportunity to thank the good people of Nima, the Zongo chiefs, elders, opinion leaders, the imams, and the hajias and the alhajis for the support given to the police in our quest for peace and security at Nima. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the situation is still fluid. Let me also use the opportunity before moving into action to thank the personnel and commanders of the service for the quick response and making it a reality in terms of the stabilization of peace and security in that important geoposition of our city. Let me also state that we are here to give you update on general security situation at Nima. From the last update, I know the media have been very hungry for more news, and we are here to do whatever we can to grant you that. As I stated, the situation is very fluid. And in view of that, the police are putting a lot of strategic and operational intervention mechanism to make sure that we enlist the support of the good people of Nima. By so doing, yesterday the Director General Police Operations, the Accra Regional Commander, Divisional Commander Nima, and a host of officers went into the community to appeal to the conscience of the youth in particular. So far, so good. We are seriously working, assiduously working with them. And the media has also contributed very much to the relative peace that we're seeing a lot of questions hangs out there, that who are those groups, looking at the way and manner they executed their attacks yesterday. And to many of you, what actually are the causative factors to that? Looking at the group, as we stated, the Kumoji group, and that of the Momo group, Bomb group. It is a gang, a criminal gang designed to perpetuate violence in that community. Gangsterism of this height will not be accepted by the Ghana Police Service. And we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we nip them in the bud, dismantle their network and orchestrations to allow our capital city to be in peace. So they're going to witness a standard growth. And looking at the causes of yesterday's violence is their quest for supremacy, their quest to lord over each other, their quest to make sure that they intimidate their opponents. And there have been occasions where they've had a lot of fights at the lower level without coming to light. And their activities have been monitored by the Nima police closely for the last 2 years. They were hauled to the Municipal Security Council and dealt with and warned accordingly. They also came to the Nima Divisional Police Station 2 years ago, and they were bonded. Till yesterday, that they exhibited mass violence. This situation will not be allowed to continue. The police administration has taken serious view of it and will work with youth groups, interest groups, civil society organizations, and other stakeholders to make sure that wherever we have such criminal gangs and elements will be dealt with, not only in Accra, but in our entire country. Ghana is a democratic country, and we'll make sure that the police enforces the law to its fullest, making sure that police authority and primacy prevails on the ground in every inch and every part of our land and country. Looking at the outcome of our investigations since yesterday, 3 people were seriously injured. 1 at the 37 military hospital where he was shot. 2 others are at the police hospital also being offered medical care. So far, our records indicate that no death has been recorded, and our attention also has not been drawn to any death in any of the hospitals. But one thing about the injured persons, some of the gang members have refused to go to the hospital, open hospital, and they are nursing their wounds as well. But our intelligence out there definitely will get all those who are involved in the violence, all those who designed and orchestrated this violence, and the police machinery will make sure that we work closely with all good people of Nima till we get them. For now, some of them can decide by the figment of their mind that they've escaped from the police. But we know for sure that having the good people of Nima behind us, those communities behind us, Nima, Mamobi, we're going to succeed, and we've started. Regarding arrest made, so far we've arrested 9 people. Today, 2 people were arrested at Ashalaja, where they decided to go. But thanks to the effective intel network of the police service, in collaboration with the good people of this country, we got 2 of them. And weapons like pump action, a set of security uniform, and unregistered motorbike was retrieved from them. As I speak to you, they are in custody, assisting in investigations. And let me use this opportunity to mention the names of all those that we've arrested. The 9. We have Abdul Aziz Sulewa, Imoro Ibrahim, Bashiru Ganiyu, Muhammad Bariyu, Atarua Basan, Gariba Abdul Mumin, Abdul Gafaru Muhammad, Ilyasu Salim, and Isa Seidu. Arrests will continue. Special police exercises will continue. Targeted operations will continue. And other specially designed intel-led operations to get all the perpetrators and executives of those criminal gangs. Let me use this opportunity also to state that the kingpins, the actual chief executives of these criminal gangs, we are doing everything possible to make sure that we pursue them, we get them, investigate them and charge them for court. That is the leader of the Kumoji group. He is Ali Awudu. And the other one, no, excuse me, Bom Bom group, which is led by Ali, and the police administration has placed 20,000 on their head. Anybody or any member of the public who offers credible information that leads to their arrest will be given that amount. Let me state again, 20,000 cedis have been placed on their head. And therefore, it is our wish that members of the public who collaborate with police to enable us get them to face justice. Let me say that all their cohorts, all their friends, those who finance the activities, those who support them operationally in their criminal machinations would be arrested. It is a question of time. And we will make sure that we get them. Let me run you through all items retrieved from such criminals. As we stated, associated with the Ashalaja one, we named a pump action, one unregistered motorbike, and a camouflage uniform of one of our important security services. We've also retrieved 12 empty cartridges, that is spent ammunition, that were fired at the ground, aimed for investigative purposes. Also, among the items are 1 pistol magazine, 2 machete, 2 knives, and a pistol believed to be a toy gun, and 2 mobile phones. Our intelligence and surveillance team will continue to throw searchlight in and around the area to make sure that our objectives, aim, is achieved, or our aims are achieved. So we'll be sharing pictures of Kumoji and Bom Bom to you, and it is our hope that those pictures will be put across the media landscape in our country for any good Samaritan to offer us information as stated earlier. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the police administration has a serious plan for this emerging crime of gangsterism, and special intervention schemes and action plans will be initiated. Details of such moves will not be disclosed because it is highly intelligence-led and borders and our country national security. The police will work with all necessary stakeholders and institutions and will not underrate our national security efforts. looking at the unity, strength, and development of our country. And we made business on this. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, taking you through all this, I believe that questions will not be taken, so also answers will not be provided. But it is our hope that we've taken you through all the basic rudiments of what happened yesterday. The Nima disturbance and violence exhibited by these two groups. And let me put on record that wherever we have any gang or group in this country, the police will deal with it. Criminal gangs. They should move away from it and engage in productive ventures. They should move away from the formation and growth of such gangs and unlawful structures. On this note, let me use this opportunity to thank members of the media for coming to the National Operations Center.
Right, so that was the Director General of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service briefing the press on the Nima Mamobi clash, which occurred Tuesday afternoon, which of course has been dominating the news this evening. So I just run you through a number of the things that he talked about, the most important being the fact that the police is pursuing two gentlemen who are supposed to be chief executives of the two gangs that clashed. So there's a Kumoji group that's led by Ibrahim Husseini and Bonbon group that's led by Ali Awudu. And the police is saying that they've put a 20,000 cedi bounty on the heads of these two, and that members of the public who volunteer information leading to the arrest of these two will be getting, that the police themselves are pursuing them. But it goes on to indicate that 2 more arrests were made today, bringing to 9 the number of people or suspects arrested so far in connection with the clash, and they're pursuing a whole lot more. They say weapons, a set of security weapons, and unregistered or security uniform and unregistered motorbikes have been retrieved from the arrest today at Ashalaja. It says arrests will continue. Targeted operations will also continue to arrest all the perpetrators and executives of the criminal gangs. There's the chief executives of the criminal gangs, as I indicated earlier, are also being pursued. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with more news. Stay tuned in. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Now, the butchering of a 15-year-old boy in the full glare of his two siblings, allegedly by herdsman Adin Shaiso, is said to have left residents shocked and terrified. 3 herdsmen were subsequently arrested in a search by the village folk after the attack in the small farming community in the Asante Achim North municipality of the Ashanti region and handed over to the police. Erastus Sasarodonko, who has been following the story, will shortly bring us an update on the investigations. But let's first bring you his report on the incident and calls by the community for government to intervene to prevent a resurgence of an age-old conflict with the herdsmen.
The Association of Farmers in Mami Krobo in the Kweu-Afram Plains is sending a strong signal to government to remove all Fulani herdsmen from their land. Chairman of the association, Frederick Nali, said they can no longer bear the cost of living with the herdsmen. They want them removed within 1 week or they will take action.
This association have met today to express our disgust and disappointment at the destructive activities of Fulani herdsmen and their cattle on our farms. For the past 30 years, we have observed with much displeasure an annual occurrence of Fulani herding their cattle to ravage our farms and waste our farm produce. We have reached the limits of our patience and we cannot take it anymore. In response to the continual clashes between farmers and herdsmen, especially during the dry season, fodder banks were created at the Popo and Wawasi near Eche Amonfrom. The fodder banks having been created, we heaved a sigh of relief because we thought cattle that were ravaging our farms would be kept in the fodder banks to put an end to the annual occurrences. But disappointingly, the fodder banks
Shaibu is a farming community with a long history of herdsmen cattle invasion of farms. But Monday's butchering of 15-year-old David Anaria has shocked the entire community. What was supposed to be a daily chore of fetching water with their elderly sibling turned bloody. So this is the water source for both the grazing cattle for the Fulani herdsmen and farmers who farm around this area. Now this is where the crime was allegedly committed. I have here the two children who have come back to the scene to pick their footwear, and they're going to tell us what actually happened.
No, was
And he points to that tree over there. So at the point where he was about to, carry the gallon of water, which is still lying here, he said that the herdsman got up from his seat from there again and came back here. This time he drew his machete and came towards him. At this point, his brother was begging him to forgive him if he has done anything wrong. At this point, the herdsman was butchering the boy, and he says that he was shouting that people should come and rescue him. So he tells me that they ran, and at a point in time, he told his brother that they should part ways so that they will not be caught. And so he took another 10, and the brother took another 10. He went home to tell his people. Their father, Anaria, is distraught.
The way I've suffered to raise this boy. He was supposed to write his final exams next year. The law should deal with these Fulani people.
The killing is raising fears of the return of herdsmen to the area.
In fact, not fear alone, panic. Panic, because you see, all people, all the people here, we are all farmers. This time we are gathering our crops, and they will come destroying them. Destroying them, even if you tell about it, don't do all. What is this? And then if we don't calm down, trouble. So we fear even today to go to the farm. We don't know whether they have been hiding over there.
School has reopened, but who will send his child to come? How do you know if the child will come back safely? We were expecting the police and military to be here today to offer protection and to drive these people away so we can go back to our normal duties.
Police have since been visiting communities urging calm. Inspector Bodi was seen addressing the community.
Munyama police, dia muwobia, mo free say ha mo bia no. Dia Fulani ni bia ye mo bia, dia konkomani ayi obi bia, yesela mo.
Please, we urge you to send your grievances to the police. Don't take the law into your own hands.
Meanwhile, 3 suspects arrested in connection with the killing are receiving treatment at the Agogo Hospital after a near-lynching incident. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, and Shaeso, Asante Achem North, Ashanti region.
And Erastus joins us with the very latest on the investigations and what could possibly be the motive for the attack. Hello, Erastus. Now, has the community been able to assign any motive for the butchering of the 15-year-old right in front of his siblings? It sounds like the perpetrator intended to make a point.
Yes, your guess is as good as mine. The community is shocked to the bone. In fact, there have been tension between the farmers in this village and the nomadic herdsmen, but then there has never been, has not got to the extent where somebody will kill somebody in that particular community. And so they cannot, fathom why anybody at all. And they think that these are children. They cannot drive away your cattle. They cannot kill them. They cannot insult you. So even if you have a problem, do you go ahead butchering children? And that is the shocker and the thing that people within the community have been pondering over since we got there.
Now, what's the fate of the people who were arrested by the village folk and handed over to the police?
So these are 3 suspects arrested by the community, I think about 20 minutes after the incident. According to them, they were within the crime scene and they arrested them. They were nearly lynched because of the anger that existed at that particular moment, but they handed them over to the Agogo police. They sent them straight to the Agogo Presbyterian Hospital. They are now responding to treatment, and hopefully today they will be discharged and handed over to the police for full investigations to begin.
Mi manko bush. Mi firo. Mi kita kwan no yakase. Kita kwan. Me fa ni krom kra. Wa tam na modi mi ko ho no krom no. Ah, ama vo bisa we say we dey enye sisi ana obechom. Enye sisi awe for na omuchom sia.
Mi de mi obusi no mi di na nchechi ma ho koronfo obi waba o mato mi ho. Umusi mi mbira na mi ba pe omu bo mi to ba ko ma nyami ma jani na o ma time na o ma ko chimi na omu di ba mi kuro na omu si obi wa ko obi mi de mi si mi ni omu chiri me obusi mi de mi di na nche mi pamu na nche na mi ko busi ama fon omu si mi mbira na mi ba o ma chimi busi no mi de mi ni de mi kasi na nche ni na ko sa mu afo enti na omu fere mi ba mi de mi ni na mi ba o ma chiri o ma burum sa la andura anano boy no mfire yinanda na waba insia sunu waba ha opensionu waba ha krom no insia sunu ma hunu boy no waba ha boy no bechicherno be burno sa mede minim boy na omukunu hono unimo bibia ya kasranse opensionu na waba insiano insia sunu ma kasranse ma hunu bon waba bechicherno be burno kasranse ade kasranse be komnu boy ba kono minim.
Right, so Erastus, the 3 people you've spoken with, the suspects who are currently in hospital, they've been essentially saying that they're innocent as far as the murders, the butchering of the boys.
Well, yes, Israel. Yes, the suspects are all giving various forms of alibi where they were at that particular moment. They say, yes, they were close to the scene, they were close to the water source, but they do not know anything about the butchering of the boy. And you heard the last person who was speaking there he was arrested very close to the crime scene. He says that, yes, he was there tending to the head of cattle, but he doesn't know anything about the butchering of the boy. And so that is what they have all been saying. But the people are expecting that the police will conduct a parade, an identification parade for the two survivors, the kids, to identify the three of them and find out who actually did the butchery.
Now, I want you to once again take us through how the circumstances under which these three were arrested by the village folk again.
So this water source is close to the farms of the people. So they share the water source with the cattle. Now, the three boys went in there to fetch water, and where they met this herdsman who, I don't know how it happened, but he got angry, told them that he was going to kill them, and indeed, he did kill the boy. Now, the two little boys decided to run home, and they told themselves that they should each take different routes so they are not caught. And that's how come back to the nearby village, and they told the people of what has happened. So they also masked up, came up, and then searched the area because they felt that since they were tending to cattle, they would not be going far. And indeed, they arrested all three of them within that particular enclave.
All right. Thank you very much, Erastus Cesarodongo, for bringing us that update on that incident or that tragic loss of life there at Asanteachim. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We're bringing you sports news next. To stay tuned in.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment live here on the Joy News Prime with me, Oreku Ampofo. In the wake of Ghana's shocking exit from the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations, the Ministry of Youth and Sports has summoned officials of the Ghana Football Association for a meeting on Friday, January 21st. Here's the full statement the ministry released earlier today. Well, this was the letter signed off by Mustafa Yusuf, who's the Minister for Youth and Sports, and it says that the entire country is extremely disappointed by the abysmal performance and early exit of the Black Stars from the ongoing 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports shares in the nation's sentiment, with the government providing the team all the needed logistical and financial support, including resources for preparation and participation in the qualifier stage to the tournament and eventually a pre-tournament campaign in Qatar. The ministry is particularly disappointed with the team's performance. The ministry has summoned the Ghana Football Association's leadership to an emergency meeting scheduled for Friday, 21st January 2022, to urgently discuss and take decisions aimed at salvaging the performance of the Black Stars, especially in the next set of games. The Ministry of Youth and Sports is committed to taking urgent steps to ensure that the Black Stars is restored to its status as a symbol of national pride for all Ghanaians and a powerhouse of African football. Well, we still stick with the Black Stars, and former Ghanaian striker Kim Grant has urged the coach Milovan Rajevac not to make wholesale changes to the current team despite the team's exit from the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations. Ghana finished bottom of Group C after defeats to Morocco and low-fancied Comoros. Following the team's elimination, many football fans in the country have called for a total overhaul of the Black Stars, but Kim Grant believes that is not the way to go.
Of the squad is already there. Okay, you can change a few personnel, just to give a little bit more energy and different vibe to the team. I don't think that you need so much changes. And I believe that we got players in the local scenes that can come in and do as equally as well or even better. But this is just down to hard work, scouting, monitoring, working with players all the time to make sure that we are, first of all, defensively solid, and we need to find our identity. At the moment, we've lost our identity the way Ghana used to play. And we always used to play on the front foot, and at the moment we don't. We're like defensive, and for me, that's not the way Ghana plays, because we got a lot of flair players, strong, powerful, physical players. So we got a good team. I think we got a good team, but it's just something needs to be addressed to make the team tick. I've been following the team very well. I'm not, I'm still using the scout systems and everything. So I have data. I know exactly what the way the team is. I like to work with young players. I think if you speak to a lot of players that work with me, they've enjoyed working under me. I'm very motivational. I expect the best from each individual. I work on characters, and also, of course, the technical ability of a player. And I want winners in my team. And I want players who have desire and who play for the shirt, and that's something that I expected even when I was at Hearts of Oak. You can check my record. It's like 50% win rate. Although, unfortunately, I was only given the opportunity to do one game in the Premier League.
Yes.
But if you looked at all my other games, I did. And I built a very young team.
Let's still stick with reactions from the Black Stars elimination. And former Ghana captain Asamoah Gyan has decried Ghana's lack of ambition after the Black Stars exited the ongoing continental showpiece.
We didn't play with any ambitions, and what else can I say? We've lost, we're going home. Everybody in Ghana will be disappointed, But honestly, if we had gone home, like for example, what Algeria is doing right now, they created a lot of chances, but they lost games. We didn't create enough chances. We didn't do anything, and then we are going home. Then that is where people will be disappointed. You have to give the people something to talk about, and we didn't give anything to talk about. As we are talking, I don't know how people were gonna feel back home. I'm very, very disappointed we are going out. We shouldn't have gone out. The Ghana we know, we didn't see the Ghana we know today.
Well, there's still an AFCON tournament going on in Ghana here, and that's the hockey AFCON. And they've received a major boost after Glyco General announced the public liability insurance cover of 5 million Ghana cedis and a sportsman package worth 1.34 million Ghana cedis. Here's Managing Director of Glyco, General Andrew Champonche.
Glyco, as you're aware, has been an avid supporter of sports in Ghana, from football right through to indeed hockey. And this afternoon, I'm happy that Glyco is here to support the African Cup of Nations 2022. We have been associated with this in our sponsorship. And this afternoon, I just want to announce to us all that Glyco is indeed supporting the African Hockey Federation with a public liability insurance cover of 5 million Ghana cedis. Although we expect that the incident or the tournament will be incident free and the competition will be excellently battled on the field, we just want to also announce that Glyco will be supporting the team with our sportsman package as well. This covers the sportsmen against any injury that they may sustain on field and off field during the course of the tournament. And we are pleased to announce the sportsman package of 1.34 million Ghana cedis for our sportsmen and women. This will cover the team, Ghana, and the officials of the Ghana Hockey Association for the period of the tournament. We as Glyco continue to cushion you for life. And we are happy to partner and support and promote this tournament, organizing and obviously giving our insurance to back it. We say the protection of our sportsmen and women is key and vital.
Well, that's how we wrap up the sports segment here. You can get some more sports stories on myjoyonline/sports, or you can check our social media handles at Joy Sports GH for the latest in the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations. My name is Ore Kwampo, and the news continues right after this.
In business, with a bleak fiscal outlook amid downgrades from global ratings agencies, government is racing to cut down expenditure across board for covered entities by 20% as part of expenditure control measures to control and contain the country's budget deficit, which currently runs in over 30 billion cedis. Take a listen to the Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori-Atta, explain some contingency measures to be taken to regain confidence in the domestic and international market.
Also strengthen expenditure management in 2022 and beyond to ensure that we match all expenditures to revenue inflows. All expenditure commitments in 2020 will be adjusted to match revenue collection. Therefore, in accordance with Section 20 of the Public Financial Management Act, the quarterly expenditure ceilings of the approved budget will include up to a 20% downward adjustment beginning in the first quarter of 2022 in commitments across board for covered entities benefiting from the 2022 budget, subject to revenue performance. This means that our fiscal consolidation addenda is not going to be only revenue-led, but also expenditure-focused. In addition to the e-levy, we are committed to the implementation of other revenue measures, including the exemption bill, property taxes, internally generated funds, etc. I look forward to further engaging with you all in the coming days and sharing government's vision for creating a country where ingenuity is encouraged, where innovation is supported, where public service is valued, where responsibility and burden sharing is for all of us and prosperity will be shared. Accountability for the custodianship of public resources would also be prioritized.
Now, a total number of consumer complaints from the financial sector to the Bank of Ghana has declined. That's according to the Central Bank's document on complaint management for the sector last year. George Riafi has the rest of the story.
That showed that complaints dropped from 445 in 2020 to 321 for the first 6 months of last year. These are complaints coming from customers of commercial banks, savings and loans companies, and non-deposit-taking financial institutions. According to the Bank of Ghana, decline can be linked to an increase in awareness from the general public in seeking redress from their respective financial institution as a first level in the complaints resolution process. Some of the complaints had to do with illegitimate charges and computation of interest on loans. The rest are issues relating to ATM charges and inability to access some matured investments. According to the Bank of Ghana, it will continue to introduce fresh measures aimed at protecting consumers of financial products in the market. It also announced that it is working to introduce a new automated system for receiving complaints from the public, whilst it will soon introduce a fully fledged call center at the Bank of Ghana to take complaints from the public.
Now, the Food and Allied Workers Union has expressed fears that many more manufacturing firms may consider shutting down if government does not allow the reversal of the benchmark discount on some imported items. Walmart Africa last week announced the shutdown of one of its palm oil production plants in the country, citing the benchmark discounts and challenging economic conditions as some of the factors. The General Secretary of the association, Ken Kumson, says about 50,000 workers risk losing their jobs if government does not do the needful. He spoke earlier on the marketplace.
Currently, the company is shut down after they notified the union of an intention to shut down. The shutdown is in respect of the 25-liter oil, which is the major liter that brings in the revenue to the company. Now, what you must understand is that from the plantation up until the plant, you have about 50,000 employees who are in that chain, from the outgrower to the smallholder to the milling plant, processing of the palm oil, the oil plant into palm oil,
Now, the newly sworn-in board chairman of the Venture Capital Trust Fund, Kofi Yamuam, has pledged to redeem the image of the fund to make it viable for small and medium enterprises to seek support from. According to him, the fund has suffered some financial challenges in the past, making it difficult to support small businesses in the country, a situation that he hopes to turn around before the end of his tenure as board chairman.
We will pursue that vigorously so that we can actually execute the mandate of VCTF, because you rightly said that Ghana cannot grow just depending on banking finance, and therefore long-term finance through institutions such as VCTF and the rest should come in place to complement what is already being done in many areas. I therefore will say that on the back of that, we pledge to make sure that VCTF comes back on track in terms of its mandate supporting the SME sector, and I'll count on all members of the trustees board to make sure that we're rightly on track and we'll receive the commendation that you rightly have entrusted in us.
Now, the Deputy Minister of Energy, Andrew Japamesa, has hinted at an amendment to the laws to incorporate very useful provisions that will enhance the country's local content agenda. The Deputy Minister made this known during the commissioning of an ultra-modern oil terminal by Dutilex Company Limited at Takoab in the Western region. He explains that for industries such as mining and energy, where international investment is predominant, local participation is crucial, so Ghanaians reap full benefits. We have more in this report.
Dutilex Company Limited, a lubricant solution company, has opened an ultra-modern terminal at Achampem, Takwa, in the Takwa and Seyo municipality to serve the extractive industry in the country. At the inaugural ceremony, the company said its main focus is on providing quality cutting-edge lubricant solutions to the mining, oil, gas, marine and energy sectors. The products are also designed to meet the need of manufacturing, agriculture and construction sectors, as well as users of all heavy equipment on highways vehicles. Chief Executive Officer of Dutilex Company Limited, Peter Kwam, said the company decided in the last quarter of 2021 to invest in the ultra-modern oil terminal to serve its clients with strong delivery and high sense of professionalism.
Today marks the beginning of a journey that will see a dynamic change in the oil and gas industry in terms of lubricants. Today we celebrate 2 years of hard work. Dutilex Company Limited has been in existence for 2 years, as I just said, representing one of the biggest brands in lubricants in the world. Our exclusive partnership with Petro-Canada Lubricants is not just in Ghana, but as was said, extends to West and Central Africa. As part of our effort to provide a solution to the mining, oil and gas and manufacturing industries, the company took the decision in the last quarter of 2021 to invest in this ultra-modern oil terminal to serve our cherished clients with prompt delivery and high sense of professionalism.
Deputy Minister of Energy, Andrew Japamesa, applauded the efforts of the company for getting their product to the extractive and manufacturing companies in the Western and Western North regions.
It's significant that we are gathered here to celebrate the landmark in the growth trajectory of an indigenous Ghanaian firm. The strides that it has made in this direction are nothing short of phenomenal. I am informed that the oil terminal that we are here to commission is meant to hold a stock level of 1 million liters of various oil lubricants and is projected to provide state-of-the-art oil analysis to serve business within the extractive, construction and manufacturing industries. Clearly, all that Dutilex Company has achieved so far has come about as a result of the dedicated hard work, and I would like to congratulate the management and staff of Dutilex for this journey. I celebrate your ambitious goal to get your end-to-end lubricant solution to the doorsteps of the extractive and manufacturing industries here within the Western and Western North regional enclaves.
Delivering his keynote address, King of Asin Ringchi traditional area, Asin Kushia, Ehunabo Brimpra, Ajinsam VI, urged Ghanaian companies to embrace competition in business.
This is not the first Ghanaian company, and making a special appeal to all Ghanaian competitors that it is in our interest to have a rivalry competitor rather than enemies. We are not enemies. I am very proud today that this company has come all the way 2-3 years up to this time to launch its products in collaboration with foreign investors.
The terminal will create 100 direct and 400 indirect jobs for the people of Tarkwa and its environs. In Athalia Kwanza, Joy News, Tarkwa.
Now, players in the tourism sector have been charged to find innovative ways to generate revenue to grow significantly. According to the chairman of the board of the Chamber for Tourism Industry, Dr. Prince Klujusim, players need to think critically to make industry much viable.
Ghana's economy, I believe that we need to be able to relook at it, those of us who are here. Our job should not be on the old traditional tourism, but we're critical thinking as to how we can be able to move this forward for the country to be able to rely on this area. Our youth should be encouraged that this industry is a very, very big industry, not only to travel to Dubai and back, but how do we create Dubai in all over the region? Should be one of our tasks, so we need to move to critical thinking, and see what we can do to support government efforts to move Ghana to the next level. If you look at the African Continental Trade Agreement, you realize that the reason why it's in Ghana, sometimes we're not talking about it, but if you look at it, it's majority of tourism. Because people will have to fly to Ghana, to see Ghana and see how you can invest, and they put their headquarters in Ghana so that they can start, running Africa from here. So maybe the old tourism probably ends today, I believe, and then the new tourism begins. Maybe we need to add another name to it, smart tourism or something.
That'll be it for the Business Bulletin with me, Charles IT. In the meantime, I'll leave you with international business summary.
Right, so the National Identification Authority has responded to a leaked letter that was been circulating in the media the whole of yesterday. So I'm going to share with you the statement that they have released responding to that leaked letter. So it says the attention of the National Identification Authority has been drawn to a letter circulating on social media with the caption, SIM registration exercise, biometric identity verification via NC Android registration application. The NIA notes that various meanings, interpretations, intentions, and motives have been assigned to the said letter, resulting in concern, confusion, and strident criticism. The NIA wishes to clarify the situation and set the record straight accordingly. NIA states as follows. The substantive contents of the documents in circulation reflect an authentic official letter written and signed by the Executive Secretary of the NIA, Professor Kenneth Agyemang-Atefuah, a copy of the original letter without any obliterations, blotting, or cancellations, unlike the document in circulation, is attached for easy reference. And it's dated 13 September 2021 with reference, and so it goes on to say, says a letter to NIA by the, right, so let's move on and get to paragraph 5 where it says the NIA stands by every statement contained in its response letter of 13 September as being technically factual, accurate, correct, and honest. The letter was duly copied to the Honorable Minister for the Interior, who is the Minister responsible for the NIS, the Honorable Attorney General and Minister for Justice, and the Executive Chairman of Identity Management Systems Limited. The NIA fully supports the SIM card registration in the country and does not in any way contest the mandate of the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization or the National Communications Authority to implement SIM card registration in accordance with law. Indeed, NIA has fully cooperated in good faith and to the best of its abilities with the MOCD and the NCA. So indeed, the statement, the letter that was put out by the National Identification Authority, as the NIA has indicated, a number of interpretations has been put to it. Now, one of the interpretations indicates that the NIA is not in support or hasn't given its blessing to the SIM card registration, and that it had expected some procedures to be followed if the entity required the cooperation of the National Identification Authority. But this is just a developing story. I'm sure there's going to be more coming out of this, but that's it for the bulletin. I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching, and you have a good evening.